In this video, we're going to cover how to optimize your content, and there's loads of different things I want to say about this subject, so strap in. The first one is you want to use a mix of photos and videos, and the size you want to use is either square or long. What you don't want to do is use the landscape ones, which are quite short going downwards, because that just takes up less room on people's news feeds or activity feeds, and then it's just got less likelihood of them being sort of seen and engaged. So if you look at 9gag, they're a really popular account for sort of entertainment content. They've got 45 million followers. And by the way, so let me just scroll down. If you look right at the top of the screen here, underneath 9gag's username, there's 3 different buttons. And the first 2 allow you to see anyone's account in either the grid view, which is what we're currently on, or a list view, which means it'll be each piece of content down here, like the sort of format of the activity feed. And if you look at 9gag's, all of their content is either square like this, or it's a bit longer like this. And yeah, so that's what you want to do. You want to keep it square or long, because then it takes up most of the screen, and then that will hopefully increase your engagement and the views on your content. That's the first point. Now, if you want to use videos on Instagram, they can only be 1 minute long. So if you do want to use videos, it's good to have a lot of movement at the start of the video. That's actually Facebook's recommendation. They say within the first 3 seconds, you need to have a lot of movement, because then that captures people's attention as they're very quickly scrolling down their feed. If there's not, see, look, if you see that one here, it just starts with so much movement that you kind of want to stop and look and see what it is. So even if it's not like a video of something, like say if it's not of an animal, it's just of like your product, you can even then still have a lot of movement at the beginning, because you can use loads of quick different angles of the product. You could zoom in very quickly and things like that, or you can have sort of headlines and headings come up in like flashing colors, whatever it is. Just have a lot of movement in the first 3 seconds. And if you want to do videos longer than a minute, you used to just not be able to, but now Instagram's launched IGTV or Instagram TV, and that's a separate app, but it's connected to your Instagram account. And then on IGTV, you can do long form videos, which is up to an hour long. So they're now really competing against Facebook, who are also focusing a lot on videos right now, and primarily YouTube as well. So Instagram used to be mainly for photos, but now they're branching out and going to video. So in my opinion, Instagram is by far my favorite platform to be on, just because of all of the features, all of the engagement and user sort of experience that it provides. Like, it's just insanely good, and I think it's going to be this way for several years. So I'd really recommend focusing on Instagram and IGTV if it's relevant to you, because there is a lot of potential there and it's going to keep on growing. So they're the points about photos and videos and what sizes they should be. Next is what to actually post. So you can post either original content that's yours, or you can do a curated selection from other people. So 9gag just sort of show content that's been submitted to them by others, and then that's what they do. But obviously most bloggers and influencers, for example, they'll post their own content of like their fashion outfits or their traveling destinations, or if you're like a business, you'll post photos of your products or services. So it can be either original or curated. If it's original, it's straightforward, like you just post your own content. But if it's curated, there's a few things you need to do. The first is, if you're curating it from other people, so let's say we go to a fitness page. Let's just type in fitness union. What's this? Yeah, so what you want to do is, Fitness Union, they're a curating page. So they take content from other accounts. Now, what you want to do is, if you are taking content from other accounts, make sure that you pick their best performing content. That's just a little hack that will ensure that whenever you repost someone's content, it's got a much higher chance of getting likes and comments, etc., because you know it's already performed well on another person's account. So that's the first tip. Now, in terms of actually crediting them, technically, when you use somebody else's content, you're meant to first message them or email them or somehow get in touch with them and ask them permission if you can use their content. But in reality, most people don't do that, and it's normally not a problem. Like, I always do that. Like, I never message them. I just use their content and then I'll credit them. And then that's never created a problem for me and many others, because think about it. If someone reposts your content, you'd be happy about that because it brings additional exposure to your account. So it's free promotion. So on Instagram, the unofficial rule is you don't really have to ask for permission first. But what you want to do is whenever you do post somebody else's content, see what Fitness Union has done here. In their caption, they've got the camera emoji here, and then they've just highlighted whose account it's from. So it's from Kulbila_fitness or African Bodybuilders Avenue, or whatever it is. So they've credited where the content is actually from, and that's what you need to do on yours as well. So if you're using somebody else's content, mention their Instagram username in your caption. And what you can also do, so it's not applicable to videos really, but if we go to a photo, we'll see if they've done it. If you just tap the photo, yeah, so if you tap a photo, it comes up with who's tagged in the photo. So Fitness Union has tagged the fitness influencer who they featured on their page. And that's what you want to do in addition to mentioning them in the caption, which is what Fitness Union has done here. So just remember that if you're reposting somebody else's content, tag them in it and mention them in the caption, and then that's sort of giving them credit. And most of the time that'll be absolutely fine. Like I say, the actual technical legal method is to ask them, but as I say, the unofficially, I always just sort of just do it and then credit them. So that's that. And the next point is you want to post content that's got the potential to go viral, and it doesn't have to be like a 20 million view hit every time. By viral I mean it's just gets more engagement and traction than a standard post of like your breakfast or whatever, you know what I mean? So there's several things that you can do. In fact, there's 4 different ways that you can create viral content. So I read a book on this recently, and it's an amazing book called Contagious. So I'd recommend reading that if you want to get like a really detailed view, but I'm going to summarize it for you now. So there's 4 different things that you can do to sort of go viral. And the first one is target people's emotions. So if we go to Gypsy Lust, they're like a really popular traveling couple. And Gypsy Lust, so they go traveling a lot. They post stunning photos of like their destinations and like their romance and love story, whatever it is. They post loads of great photos like that. And the way they've grown so viral is they've targeted the emotion awe, or another word for that is like amazement. Like it's just such amazing content. You're just like, wow, that's awe. And in the book, it says that awe is actually the strongest emotion in terms of going viral. So if you want to go viral, target the emotion awe if you can. And if you can't target that, that's fine. The other ones are excitement. And that explains why, like, I don't know, a new movie release normally goes viral on social media because everyone's excited about it. They want to tell their friends about it, tag them in it, etc. So you can try and create excitement through like, excuse me, by holding a competition, for example, that creates excitement, or sort of doing a raffle or something like that, that creates excitement. And then the next one is amusement. So this is why all of the popular sort of meme accounts like the Fat Jewish or Fuck Jerry or Massey Popal, all of them, that's why they've gone viral, because they post really funny memes and then that creates amusement, and then everyone wants to tag their friends in it, and then they tag their friends, and then that's how they all grow very quickly. And then the next emotion you can target is surprisingly anger. So it's not just the positive emotions that do well, it's also negative ones. So the first 3 are obviously positive, or excitement and amusement. But the next one is anger. And this explains why, for example, a lot of political posts and articles go viral, because it sort of angers, you know, some part of the population, and then that spreads and all that sort of stuff. So that's one. And then the final one is anxiety, which is another surprising one. But when people are like anxious about something, they want to share it because they're sort of in like a panic mode, or, you know, they're sort of worried about something and they want to sort of share that with other people so they're not feeling alone in the anxiety. So for example, you must have heard of FOMO, or fear of missing out. So a lot of the time people will post something as like a fear of missing out. Like if you're holding a competition, for example, that creates FOMO and anxiety that you don't want to miss out on the prize, so you'll take part in it. So they're all the different emotions that you can target. Now, the next one that you can do is to provide value. So you don't have to target emotions, you can just provide value instead. And for that, I'm going to take you to BuzzFeed Tasty. So you may have seen these videos on Facebook or Instagram, and again, 19 million followers. So They post really, really quick videos on how to make like stunning or delicious looking meals. And they just show like a sped up version, and it's cut really nicely in terms of editing to make it just look really simple and really easy. And they just provide a ton of value. So you're learning all of these new recipes very quickly. So if you're a product business, you can do value related posts about your products or your services, or you can not even focus on your products and services, and you can just focus on who your target customer is. Think about what they would want information for, and then sort of provide content aimed at giving them that information. So in terms of providing value, you can either provide news or advice or information or updates about a particular topic. Those are the 4 things that I categorize as value. And if you look at BuzzFeed here, Tasty, they sell a line of kitchenware as sort of their way to monetize. But think about this. If you were selling kitchenware as your business, a lot of businesses would just post about their kitchenware on social media and expect to get sales. What BuzzFeed has done is the opposite, and that's what you should do if you're selling a product. Don't focus on your product or service. Try and focus on providing value, and then as a result, you can slide in your product or service. So BuzzFeed Tasty is focused on providing amazing recipes, and then they're like, oh, by the way, we sell kitchenware that can sort of help you make these recipes. So think about value in that way. Don't just focus on yourself, focus on actually providing value to others in the form of news, advice, information, or updates. Now, the next one is to boost someone's social status. And there's 3 ways that you can do this. First, you can help to define them through your content. So that means that people, if you're like an aspirational brand, like something really cool like Nike, then, or Nike, I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah, I call it Nike, then you wear their shoes because it sort of indicates to people of who you are. Like, you know, it just gives you that way of defining yourself through something else. So you can focus on providing content that makes other people look good, and then they'll share that content because it defines them and makes them look good too. So that's the first way. The second way is gamification. So for that, that's when you sort of make a game out of something that involves scoring points or winning a prize or something. So if you're holding a competition, those go viral when someone wins because they want to show off about it to their friends and family, and things like that. Or if you're doing like daily contests or weekly contests, that's a sort of way to sort of build up a lot of word of mouth. So let me just quickly show you movement watches. And again, I'm going to use a product because again, I just want to highlight that. So a lot of companies sell watches, and what a lot of them do wrong is they'll just post photos of their watches, and that's just really boring. Like, it's not going to sort of add that much value, it's not going to target emotions, and it certainly doesn't boost social status. But what Movement have done is they repost other people's photos if they're wearing Movement watches. So that adds the social status boost because you're sort of featured on a massive page or like a company's page. You don't even have to be big, you can be small, and it's still cool to get featured by another page. So that's one way to make them sort of boost their social status. But it also helps define them. So these photos are really cool. They're not just of watches, and they're not boring locations. They're like really stunning places. And then again, this is like a cool, young, hip brand that you'd want to be associated with. Like, yeah, I've got a Movement watch, check them out, they're really cool. And then if someone new lands on their page, they're like, oh wow, that person's recommendation was good. This is a cool looking page. So that's how you can use social status. And then the third way, so the first 2 were define them or use gamification. And the third one is exclusivity. So if you can make people feel special through your Instagram account, then that's another way to sort of increase your virality. So for example, you could say the first 500 people to comment on this post will get access to our exclusive Facebook group, or we'll get a 10% discount on our products and things like that. Just make people feel exclusive, like they're part of a small minority of people that will get special treatment in some form. So they're the 3 different ways that you can use boosting social status. And then the final way to go viral is to share stories. And for that, there's no better example than Humans of New York. So this went crazy viral, 7.8 million people. And what this account does is the photographer, Brandon something, I can't remember his full name, Brandon something. He started this account years ago, and what he does is he goes around and photographs people and then shares a very quick story about them that they've told him. And it's a very simple concept, but it's very powerful because the stories that are told in these posts are like amazing. Some of them are really incredible, and it's gone viral because they do tell a story. And humans are wired to love stories. They love things with like real people or characters. They like things that have a beginning and a middle or ends. Like they like to be taken on that journey. And the main thing that people like about stories is when they can relate to them in some way. So Humans of New York, they cover loads of stories, not just happy ones, but also sad ones and ones that make you feel angry. And a lot of people can empathize with those stories or sort of relate to the people in those stories. And then that's how they've gone viral. So for your Instagram account, you don't have to do anything like that. Like a story can be about anything. So if you're a company, you can sort of tell stories about your employees, or your customers can give you reviews. Like that's a form of a story. If you're an influencer, you can obviously tell stories about yourself. I see a lot of influencers just focusing on like their actual content. Like a fashion influencer will just sort of post about their clothes and that's it. Whereas the ones that do really well is they also give an insight into their actual life or their actual thoughts and emotions, and that builds much stronger connection with their audience than just posting content without having any kind of story or narrative about it. So that's what I'd recommend in terms of going viral. Target emotions, provide value, boost social status, or share stories. And I've already touched on this lightly earlier, but I want to re-emphasize it now. If you're doing any content on Instagram or any social network, focus on your audience. Don't just promote yourself. So a lot of businesses, again, I see they'll just focus on selling, promoting, and they don't really provide any value or anything to their audience. Like they're just going straight for the sale, straight for grabbing money or whatever it is. And I'll give you an example of this. So if we go to, I came across this the other day. They were just running ads on Instagram or Facebook, and it just didn't look very good on their profile. Look at this, like that's so uninspired. It's just photos of their products. Like it just looks really bad first impressions. And this sort of covers a lot of the negative things I've been saying already throughout this course of what people do wrong. And this sort of just highlights it. Like it's just a really bad account, and that's not going to target anything. It's not targeting emotions. It's not providing value. It's not boosting social status, and it's not sharing a story, and it's definitely not focusing on the audience. It's just promoting themselves. So the rule is 80% of the time you should be providing some kind of value or viral content, and just 20% of the time you should be promoting yourself. So other than that, like if it's any more than that, then it comes across as very spammy, and people are going to be put off a lot more than if you're providing value most of the time and then just slowly sneaking in your actual promotions of whatever it is. So that's that. And the next point I want to make is you want to try and use evergreen content. So evergreen content is content that doesn't go out of date. So if we go to like any fashion influencer, for example, so I'll go to Magic Fox. He's one that I follow. So evergreen content, I see Magic Fox a lot of the time. He'll repost outfits that he's worn before, like several weeks or months ago, because it doesn't really matter when he posts it. He can repost content. It doesn't matter when he posts. It's not time specific. And then that just makes his life easier, because if he's ever having days or weeks where he's too busy to produce content, he can just post old posts, and then so can you if that's what you want to do. And the other benefit is, if like say a month ago or 2 months ago you had a really good performing piece of content, like it got loads of likes and comments, then what you want to do is repost that in the future, because again, it'll probably gather a lot of new likes and comments from new people that have started following you. So that's why you should try and focus on evergreen content that just doesn't go out of date. So try not to focus too much on things that are happening in current affairs. Like don't tag your content to that or attach your content to that, because it means you can't repost it as much as you can with evergreen content. And then the final points I want to make are very basic things, like use high quality photos, and what you want to do is edit and filter them. And then you also want to add a caption to all of your content. So if you go to Magic Fox, he's the quality of the photo is always very good. He's edited them to make sure the lighting's nice, and like he's got whatever filter he wants on it. And then he's always got a caption that's talking to his audience. Too many times people are in such a rush to just post that they won't even sort of add a caption, and then they'll just go straight for the photo or the video, and it's just not as personal or effective as actually adding a caption as well. So make sure you add a caption. And then what you also want to do is add any tags. So you can tag, if you're like a photographer and you're taking photos of like travel destinations, then tag the large travel accounts in your photos. And I'll cover that in a separate strategy. I'm just telling you that you should be tagging things. And Magic Fox, for example, if I tap his photo, all right, he hasn't done it in this one. That's not good. Let's see if he's got it in this one. Yeah, so normally what he does is when he's wearing a certain brand's clothing, he'll tag them in the photo, and then that sort of just increases the photo's potential for going viral, because if that brand sees his photo, they might repost it on his page, and then he'll get all of that additional exposure. So make sure you tag people in them as well. Use hashtags. So in this one, he's got the forage hashtag, which is the brand. And again, I'll cover hashtags in a separate topic. He hasn't included any other hashtags. Okay, so he's just got the one. Yeah, I'll cover hashtags in a separate topic, but yeah, make sure you include those. And finally, if you see at the top under his username, he always puts a location. So that's another great way to sort of amplify your content's reach, because if you put a location there, that means your content is discoverable by location. So if I go to the search button at the bottom where the magnifying glass is, I'll tap that. And if I type in Dusseldorf, then I'll slide over to places. Then that's got Dusseldorf, Germany. I can click that, and it's going to bring up all of the posts that have been tagged in that particular location. So whenever you're doing a post, even if it's not relevant to your post, like the location doesn't matter. Like if you're taking a photo of like a piece of fruit, for example, then location is not relevant, but it's still good to put the location of where you are, because it's still good to just have that additional exposure of being included in all of the location results. So that's how I would optimize content. There are all the different things that I'll do. And then finally, this is just a little tip. So whenever you post a piece of content, what I do is sometimes I'll add a story, and then I'll just take a screenshot of the post, and then I'll add it as a story, and then I'll say, like, I've just posted a new post, check it out. Or you can sort of do the screenshot of the post and then just, well, let me just do this here. So what you can do is, let's just take a screenshot of this and pretend it's my post. I can take a screenshot of that, and then I can go to my story at the top, and I can upload that screenshot. And then what I can do is I can even do something as silly as sort of go like this to sort of blur it out. And then I can go to the top and press done there, and then add some text and say new post is live. Because some people now, they'll check their stories, but they won't necessarily see your post. So what this does, it will allow you to sort of add additional promotion to everything you post. So you can do a post and then post a story about it, and then that'll hopefully drive more traffic to that post as well. So that's how I optimize my content and sort of get it amplified to as many people as possible.